Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It's Damien again with another list. And this time, I'll go to a more pleasant WrestleMania than WrestleMania 36. It's WrestleMania 37. Let's rebook that. Again, let's start with the Hall of Famer class. And apart from one exception, is the same as in real life. Kane will be the headliner, as well as RVD. Both of them will be cool headliner. You have the Great Khali. Why not? He was unintentionally hilarious, but still was a good character. You have Eric Bischoff, who will be inducted that year. You have Queen Charmel will be inducted in this year, not last year, but next the following year, because I got somebody in mind for that. Ozzy Osbourne, and you have Molly Holly as the women's wrestler being inducted. So now we go to the first year back of the Under the Giant Battle Royal with start of night one WrestleMania. And I look at the roster and I couldn't think who could win, but I thought, what say you? Who's actually available to be that night will be available to be wrestling that night that maybe other nights will not be. All right, I know about Hall of Famer Rob Van Dam. And I would have Rob Van Dam win the Battle Royal. And between the IC US title, which should he choose to go against? He choose to go for the one title he never held, the US title. So you have US title match, you would have the champion against Rob Van Dam later at WrestleMania at night two. So then the second match of the night will be the women's tag gauntlet with the same team as you had in real life. You would have the Iconics. You could have the Iconics, Kanlana and Naomi. You could have Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. You could have the Riot Squad, Natalia, Tamina. I think it was somebody else. Natalia and Tamina win. I couldn't I couldn't really book my way out of this. Then, in an IC Scramble match, you have Big E defending against Apollo Crews, against Jey Uso, against Cesaro, against Shinsuke Nakamura, against Apollo Crews. Knowing that nothing happened of the Apollo Crews thing, this discouraged me from giving the IC title to him. Jey Uso was in beginning of a push, but he's going back to his tag team roots afterwards, so no. Cesaro's about to leave. The only reason I would give it to the following guy is Big E, who's going to be crowned Money in the Bank later that year. I would give it to Shinsuke Nakamura anyway. The guy did not get a WrestleMania win, and he's a Rumble winner, so why not give him a Rumble win there? So why not give him, sorry, an IC title win right there and there? Then, in a tag title match, the New Day would defend tag titles against Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, and against Shane McMahon and Elias in a in a ladder match. And I would have the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin regain the tag titles right there and there. Then, in the next match, you would have Miz, John Morrison, and Bayley team up in a six-person tag against Damian Priest, Bad Bunny, and the returning Becky Lynch. Same as in real life, you would have Bad Bunny pin Miz to win the match. In the sixth match of the night, you would have, for the WWE title, Bobby Lashley defends Drew McIntyre. Part of me wants Drew McIntyre to win. Part of me wants this to happen. But I don't want Bobby Lashley to keep losing. He just won in the same month, so I have Bobby Lashley. Basically, have Bobby Lashley, I don't know, make Drew McIntyre pass out to a scissored version of the full Nelson on the basically where they're both lying down. Put basically Bobby Lashley scissors Drew McIntyre with his legs to make sure he's not going anywhere. Does the full Nelson and Drew McIntyre passes out. And there's controversy of that because at one point or another, Drew McIntyre puts his feet on the ropes, the oath should have been broken, but it doesn't happen. So Bobby Lashley wins, and you can have the Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and MVP basically celebrate with all their title belts there. You can have MVP temporarily just for that night win the 24/7 title. Who cares? Okay. And like just for that moment, because later on there would be Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt, the penultimate match of night one. Braun Strowman would keep on his WrestleMania winning streak. It would have pinned Bray Wyatt. So yeah. And before the main event, I said that basically MVP was the 24/7 champion. Well, it would be pinned by The Miz. Miz would win the 24/7 championship, and I'll propose they went from 1 month earlier after Elimination Chamber win the WWE Championship, and now 1 month later he's the WWE 24/7 champion. How about that? And the main event of night one will be the same as in real life. Sasha Banks defends the SmackDown Women's title against Bianca Belair, and like in real life, Bianca Belair wins that main event and wins the title. Night two, I would start off with SmackDown Tag that was promised for WrestleMania was take it out because they can basically have good time cues and they don't know what they're doing at times. So we have Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode defend against Otis and Gable versus the Mysterios and Street Profits. I would have the Mysterios win the tag titles right there and there. Then in the second match of the night, you got AJ versus Sheamus. That match we never really saw one-on-one in a pay-per-view. And I don't know if it's heel versus heel or not, but I'm tempted giving AJ Styles the win, one way or another. Then the third match of the night for the women's tag titles, you would have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on Natalya and Tamina. Natalya and Tamina will win the tag titles. Then you would have Randy Orton take on Sami Zayn. Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. Sorry, I'm just thinking of something. Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. And yeah. Actually, you know what? Scrap that. It would be Randy Orton versus Christian Cage. I would have Randy Orton versus Christian Cage, and since Christian Cage is leaving WWE anyway, Randy Orton can win. Sami Zayn will be implicated in the three-way U.S. title match with Matt Riddle defending against Sami Zayn against the Battle Royal winner Rob Van Dam, and I have Rob Van Dam pin Matt Riddle, the original bro, to win the U.S. title. And it won't be a long reign. We'll keep it for a month, and he loses it to either loses back to Matt Riddle or he can lose it to Sami Zayn. Doesn't matter. Then, sixth match of the night, you have Daniel Bryan against Seth Rollins. This is how Seth Rollins gets his heat, is because he comes back as a heel. He's the guy who eliminated Daniel Bryan in 2021 Royal Rumble, and I'll have Seth Rollins curb sub him twice, and basically be the reason why Daniel Bryan leaves WWE. So Seth Rollins would pin Daniel Bryan. In the penultimate match, you have Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley can win the women's title there. And the Universal title match will close out night two and be the official main event of WrestleMania, when you have Roman Reigns defending against Edge, the Royal Rumble 2021 winner, and the guy who, quite frankly, he screwed out of at Armageddon 2020 and the Royal Rumble 2021, Kevin Owens. And as much as I like Kevin Owens to regain a title, I already had him basically go at WrestleMania being Universal Champion, the WrestleMania 33, and he won it back from Jericho at basically the month after WrestleMania 33. So I'm cool with Roman Reigns having the same ending as in real life, stacking up both Edge and Kevin Owens and winning the match. Then you can say he beat Canada. You can say Roman Reigns says, hey, see, this is the best that Canada can do. I beat them both. And basically be even more of a heel. So that's how I would have booked WrestleMania 37. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. And as always, if you have any comment, let me know what you think. See you later.